Hi, everybody. Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah, it is September 29, 2024. I'm staying on what has happened with Hurricane Helene. We have another hurricane possibly coming next week, heading for Florida, possibly. Possibly. They're not sure if it presents as a threat yet. So, there are so many people in need, and it is overwhelming, to say the least, what is going on in Asheville, North Carolina, and surrounding towns. All of the towns, East Tennessee, Georgia. Yes, I'm not forgetting or uh, purposely ignoring Florida, but it seems that this hurricane did more damage in in Tennessee and in North Carolina. Not that the damage was insignificant in Florida or Georgia. Not saying that, but it is, oh, it's just a wow. I don't, it's hard to even know what to say at this point. So we're going to get into it, but first let's take a look at radar. And first, let me just say hello. Hello, everybody. Geo Factor 3, Tony Punch, and yeah, anybody that has been affected by the man-made Hurricane Helene. Hope you found peace and solace through this difficult time. Good luck. Good luck finding that right now. It's bad. What's happening is bad. Hello, Amelia and Ain't Buying It, and Alicia DeMoss. Tony says, damn it, just now, ambulance, fire trucks coming to get the neighbor who passed from prostate and bone cancer. Just now. I am way past pissed off. Yeah, a lot of people are dying. A whole lot are dying every day. Every day. All right. Hello, Andrew. Crazy Pots and Sandra. Joni, Kim Blanchard. I have to tell you, I am just not feeling well. Look at that. Do you see the blurriness of my camera right now? Okay. Something is going on, and I'm not liking it. And it just burst back into focus. Okay, sweet pea, you just came in. You know that I'm talking to myself, which means I'm working, right? All right, give me just 2 seconds. No, I'm not going to give you 2 seconds. Okay, excuse me. Okay, here, your brother ate already. Okay. All right. Sorry. I knew that he would keep meowing. Okay. I'm not feeling well. The buzzing here has been the worst in Idaho, anywhere else. And the exhaustion that I've been feeling, well, look, my circumstances, it's hard for me to point a finger at any one cause, but it might just be, all of the above. But yes, I have not been feeling well. I can't stand it. I am trying to keep myself above water, but a whole lot of people are trying to keep themselves above water now, and it's very difficult. So, Barb in Ohio, Joni, um, hello, Jane Northrop. I noticed that somebody has a house for rent. It was either Joni or Joni C. And if that's the case, if they could email me, I have to keep my mind open to anything. So, Patricia White, Outlaw Biker, BMCC, Oracle 11, Crystal Ingram, T. Lamb, hello, Bella, Denise Martinez. Yeah, I'm tired of stupidity as well. Louisiana Skywatch and Silent Walk, Hypocrites Matrix, Steve Ladner. Yeah. Dean Hatfield, Pamela Barone. Unfortunately, this is what we have to get used to because it's not going to get better. It's only going to get a lot worse. We've seen it get worse throughout the years, and it's not going to get better. We don't have the population of people who are well enough to even understand what is really taking place. We don't have a population that's physically well. I think about all of these people who are affected by Hurricane Helene, and a whole lot of them, I guarantee, have a whole lot of physical issues, don't feel well. Now they have to deal with this. It is very taxing, very difficult. That's why help is so necessary and a whole lot of crying out. And where is the help? So I'm going to show you that. I think to myself, it's hard to see all of this, to witness it. But imagine what these people are living. They're living it. And that's why it's important to witness it and circulate it. Because local news is doing fine on reporting. National news, have we heard from our fabulous president and vice president? Has Trump said anything about this? I haven't heard. Any of you hear from our leaders on what is taking place? Rick Yorkin, hello. Trent Robb and Wire Palladium and Space Indian and Tony Stoffer. Silence is compliance. Yeah, my budget for a home rental. If you're just going to be looking for homes to rent, don't bother, because there's an awful lot that I can look myself. There's a lot that are incredibly expensive, and I thought I was going to be able to get my own place here. And they changed ownership. And now what was, I guess, subsidized is no longer, they just changed ownership. So the rents in the apartments here are skyrocketing. Okay. Okay. I will give you your treats because I know you're just going to keep on keeping on, babe. Here you go. All right. So, ML, I'm in Idaho. when desperation sets in, and I have to, there are so many people who don't have family. There are so many people who don't have friends, you know, and when they face the loss of their home, those who don't have insurance, they reach a desperation point, and it's very difficult to make, good decisions, especially when, you know, you're left with perhaps only one choice. Um, it is horrible what has happened in our country. Horrible. All right, so let's just take a quick look at radar. And where is my radar? So, yeah, what is this thing? What is this thing? Oh, I guess I'm gonna have to show you too. Yeah. Did I even do this? Did I even do this? Oh, I apologize. Not quite with it. Okay. Got it. Yes. Still twirling around. As you can see, look at these extremely low frequencies off the coast of California. Look at the extremely low frequencies off the coast of Texas in the Gulf. You always have to wonder, what do they have planned? But this is still Hurricane Helene in Ohio, in Pennsylvania. Yeah, it's so absurd what is taking place. But look at all what, yes, I consider nanobots, all of these little colorful dots that appear, but it's spinning and spinning and spinning. And the eye of it is in Tennessee. No, that is not Mother Nature at all. Of course, we have the activation going on in Florida, and I don't think there's no severe weather warnings. Very good. But let's just take a look at our forecast model, since they're now talking about another possible hurricane. All right, so this starts at midnight, Monday, midnight, September 30, and somewhat quiet for the southern states. But here we come with an awful lot of water vapor, as you can see in the Gulf, and lots of rain and, well, heavy rain in Florida on the East Coast. This is October 2nd, which is Wednesday. This is 6 a.m., October 2nd, noontime, October 2nd. Oh, the beginnings of severe weather at 6 p.m., October 2nd, Wednesday. Okay, lessons, that's good, right? Yeah, okay. October 3rd, noontime. Oh, Louisiana, New Orleans, severe weather coming your way if this forecast actually holds. This is at 6 p.m., Thursday, October 3rd. Lots of severe weather for Louisiana, for the right on the Gulf. New Orleans, Tony, and possibly, well, Louisiana Skywatch, possibly. Up, then it disappears. Midnight, October 4th. And then we have more severe weather developing in the Gulf. What is this, pray tell? Down here on October 5th at 6 a.m. Okay. It just looks like a thunderstorm. Now it looks a little like a possible hurricane at 6 p.m., October 5th, Saturday. Coming right into Florida. If the forecast holds. That's the if. So I hope all of you are. They don't even need hurricanes to bring about the kind of destruction that we are seeing now with Hurricane Helene. Okay, but first, some good news, a little bit of good news. This is all I have for you. The fires in California contained. Yay.
News this morning, the three major wildfires burning across SoCal are almost completely contained. The airport fire in Orange and Riverside counties is 95% contained. The bridge fire burning in LA and San Bernardino counties is 97% contained. And the line fire, also in San Bernardino County, is 83% contained.
Okay.
Good news.
But what is this? What is this? Chlorine and pool chemical factory? Mainstream media is calling it a biolab in Georgia. Conyers, Georgia, has gone up in flames after a malfunctioning sprinkler. That's what they said. Dispersed water over a water-reactive chemical, causing a chain reaction and a fire on the roof of the plant. And check this out. Evacuations, of course, were mandated. Well, yeah. The reporters on the news were saying, well, we don't want anyone breathing this in. So police have been evacuating people. What we know about the Conyers Biolab fire.
News at 6, I'm Ron Jones. We're going to begin tonight with breaking news out of Rockdale County. A major chemical fire has now forced residents living in Conyers to evacuate. Check out this, a huge plume of smoke, as you can see. This is all taking place at a biolab facility on Old Covington Highway. And officials think a sprinkler malfunction around 5 o'clock this morning mixed with something called a water reactive chemical, which then sparked the fire. At first, crews thought they had it under control. However, just a few hours ago, it flared up again, and now even more people have been forced to evacuate their homes. And moments ago, officials say that they're waiting to see where the wind is going to blow that plume of smoke and hopefully push that cloud away from the Conyer neighborhoods.
It really depends on where the plume shifts to and what we get calculated back from their reading.
Any idea if this could affect school or work tomorrow?
As of right now, I really can't say that, but really depends on the weather. And when we get that report back from EPD, we'll be able to actually verify that.
11 Alive's Teresa Bowles joins us live now from the Burt Adams Boy Scout Camp. This is in Covington, where the Red Cross just arrived to help those neighbors out. Teresa?
Ron, emergency management just switched to this location 25 minutes away in Covington on Scout Road because they tell me the wind shifted and could blow that smoke in the direction of the previous location at Wolverine Gym. It's a shelter here, but the video of this fire is just amazing. Take a look. The video you're seeing is from Michaela Edwards. She's hunkered down in Conyers right now. I can't get to her and she can't get to me because several streets are blocked. So Edwards and I video chatted within the last hour. She says she had no idea what was going on until her son called her and told her to stay home and close the windows. What you're seeing now is what she and others are seeing outside today. We've been getting an abundance of cell phone video and photos from viewers. Edwards says it was like a movie. She describes the clouds and her panic to create a safe space for her and her kids.
The sky is red. Like, oh my God, the sky is literally red. Something's wrong. So, of course, I freaked out inside. And I started closing all the vents and, trying to make sure everything is cut off.
So if you
Is this just accident after accident after accident? Or is this deliberate? We are at war. Interstate is closed. The interstate is closed outside Atlanta. You have to understand, driving through Atlanta is not fun. It's like hell. Closing the interstate, any interstate, makes it even more hell.
They are chemicals, and how they react, you don't know. And so when this plume starts out, it could become, very, very dangerous, toxic. So until we get those readings from EPA and EPD, we don't know exactly what the plume consists of.
Well, it's just coincidence, considering everything that they are dealing with in Georgia from Hurricane Helene. Well, now they get to deal with this. 17,000 people evacuated in Conyers. 17,000 evacuated due to this chemical plume that they want to protect you. So get evacuated, get away. Don't breathe it in. Looks like a war zone. Raleigh, North Carolina, which is east of Asheville, North Carolina, had a tornado on Friday.
Really catastrophic.
Sonny Cardinelli recalls the moments a tornado touched down. It was just after 1:30 Friday as he was out to eat with family along North Wesleyan Boulevard.
Everything was spinning inside the room. Bricks, everything was going around in circles in there. And we just all grabbed and went up under the tables.
According to Rocky Mount Emergency Management, 15 people were hurt, 4 of which have serious injuries and are receiving treatment at the hospital. 14 buildings damaged. Cardinelli and others helping to pull one man pinned under the debris. On the other side of the shopping center, Keisha Justice, who serves cancer patients, sharing a similar account.
Let's run and let's take cover. And so we went to the bathroom, which is what we knew was the safest place to be.
When Justice looked out her door seconds later, she saw this medical supply business demolished, just a pile of bricks.
All I heard was help, help. She was covered with bricks. And the only thing I could do at that point was call 911 because I was too afraid to come out. I didn't know if the tornado would circle back around.
Justice describing this aerial view of the complex as a war zone. Vehicles like this white car tossed across the parking lot. Windows busted, signs dripped like paper, and light posts strung like yarn. Hairstylist Demetrius Barnes thankful she was able to keep her young client calm.
It's just amazing what a storm can do. And we were just spared because it could have been a whole lot worse.
Those living in the Tiffany Park apartments impacted as well. Metal siding and large branches scattered across the parking lot, making it difficult to drive. For Kashawn Brown and Jordan Austin, frightening moments during the day off from school with a large tree limb breaking a window.
On the dresser, on the TV stand, near my Xbox, glass. The whole part of the window is like on the floor.
It was scary. I was hoping everybody was okay.
Raleigh, North Carolina. Okay. And here we have the weather breakdown. Tropical Depression 12 forms in the Atlantic, expected to become major hurricane. Could become a hurricane by Wednesday or Thursday, or maybe even Saturday. Okay. We are at war, and they are, wow, using those weather terrorists like they've never used before. A whole lot of people are stuck without anything and they need help and they're crying out. This guy is from North Carolina, and he's got a message that he wants to get out to a lot of people.
Hurricane Helene hit Leicester, North Carolina about 2 days ago. The local news is covering it, but the big news is not. A lot of people do not know what's going on. We are without food, without water. Gas stations are out. There's no electricity. It's a war zone. It's literally a war zone. Looting is going crazy. It's everywhere. Police are not responding to missing person calls anymore. They're only responding to big emergencies. The Walmart down the road on Bleachery just got flooded out where I work. There's nothing there. It's a war zone. There's flooding everywhere. The houses have been swept away. There's houses floating down the river. Cars are gone. We need help. We need help, and we need to get the word around. We need help, please. So part 2, we still don't have power. I haven't seen anything. We walked down to the road. There was a car that hit a tree, took the roof of the car clean off. Me and my roommate were splitting 1 bottle of water all day today. We had no more water. We need help. My job, if you look at the video, I work at Walmart. If you look at my video, it's flooded. My job right now, I can't even go to work. The roads, the flooding was so bad, it's torn up the asphalt, like it's ripped up the asphalt. If anybody can help, I mean, it's in my bio on my profile. If you can just click the link, I need help. A lot of us do, and please share. Please just share the other video or this video. We need help. Please pray for me. Asheville, North Carolina got hit by the hurricane 3 days ago. Bad news is we are getting hit by another hurricane in about 5 days. It's supposed to follow the same track. This community is devastated. Nobody can get in. I understand that there's plenty of trucks and people trying to get in, but I-26 and I-40 and every single bridge, they're not letting people cross because the bridges they're worried are going to collapse. We can't get help unless it's by air, and we don't know the locations where they are helping people. Sam's Club is giving out water if we need it, but there's no food or electricity right now. But just pray, please repost. It's just going to get worse. It sounds like at the end of this week. So just keep praying and reposting, please.
Not good. Now, I can't play this on Twitter because it won't play. It'll just... I don't know why some videos play and others don't. I'm going to post the link, and I think everybody should click on this link and listen to what this man has to say, who's in South Carolina. And yeah, it is horrifically bad what's going on. This woman too, who I can't play, it just circles around. And she also is talking about, there's a Facebook group with pictures of all of the missing. Now, New York Post says 1,000 are missing. Others have said hundreds of people are missing. So click on the link. I hope you share it. How do we know any of this if these people aren't posting? Okay. So here's another. Have you heard? Has anybody heard from our leaders on what is taking place here? FEMA doesn't seem to be all that involved. So here, Newport, Tennessee, when the dam collapsed and sent water into Newport.
We got a horse stuck at the barn. There's no way to get to him.
I think we'll...
I want to show you what this flood's done. Everything on the farm drowned. Couldn't get everything out. We managed to save one horse. The rest of the horses are trapped next to the barn. We cut all the fences so they could try to get out. But everything's gone. We got a horse stuck at the barn. There's no way to get to him.
I think we'll...
Yeah, billions to Ukraine, billions to Israel, to kill people. Nothing here for these people or all of the others who have been devastated by weather and fire. Do you see how our government is not our friend? How are these people going to recover from this without the aid that they should be receiving? FEMA.
Good morning, Robert. Right now I'm here in Florida, and I believe yesterday as I traveled with the governor to assess damages there, he accounted for 11 deaths here, but I would refer to the states for the specific numbers because they're the ones that are tracking this. But what I can tell you is we are getting reports of multiple fatalities across the 5 states.
Which regions have been hardest hit?
So this has been, Robert, a true multi-state event. I have seen, my team on the ground has seen significant impacts in Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Tennessee. I saw the impacts here in Florida yesterday. I'm traveling to Georgia today so I can see the impacts firsthand there. And I'll be in North Carolina on Monday so I can assess the impacts there. But we're hearing significant infrastructure damage to water systems, communication, roads, critical transportation routes, as well as several homes that have been just destroyed by this. So this is going to be a really complicated recovery in each of these 5 states that have had these impacts.
And where has the flooding been worst? Where do you see real problem areas still at this moment?
Well, here in Florida, they had up to 15 feet of storm surge in Taylor County, which is where I was at with the governor yesterday. These are record storm surges across the Big Bend area. I heard reports of up to 9 feet of storm surge in the St. Pete Beach area. In North Carolina, we're still in active search and rescue mode. They're still having flooding issues and landslides. And so we're still actively working on search and rescue missions up in North Carolina. But we've had significant wind and flooding damage again in all 5 of these states.
Hurricanes are not a flood event. They're a wind event. So the massive amounts of flooding. Yeah, you could, okay, storm surge, Florida, where it makes landfall. Not up in North Carolina, Western North Carolina, not up in Tennessee. Americans, please start thinking again, okay? A 1,000 people reported unaccounted for in North Carolina. How many rocks gone?
This was the Flowery Bridge.
houses and trees. This is the main road. This is Memorial Bridge. Crested the bridge last night. All those houses. Mm-hmm. All right, guys, just to give you an understanding of the devastation we're dealing with here. Chimney Rock's gone. Flowering Bridge is gone. And the road's gone. So I don't know what they're going to do to get us out of here, but we have to figure it out.
And then what's the ripple effect of all of these businesses gone? Job loss. A whole lot of people losing their jobs. Good luck finding another one, especially in these areas right now. Asheville, North Carolina, isolated. Virtually every road in western North Carolina is closed. Closed. And that's why they're so isolated.
Absolutely, Adrian. I mean, for 3 hours, we were just trying to find cell service. So that just goes to show you how isolated this area is because of the storm. We were downtown Asheville, which is about 10 miles up the road over here. And once you go downtown, there are dozens of people just walking around the city with their phones, trying to find signal because there just isn't any signal at all. And you guys can see some of the damage right here to my right. I mean, look at that tree right there, completely just toppled over. This is the scene that we've seen pretty much all throughout the city, that power line torn down as well. And this is why it's so hard to get cell signal right now, because there's so many power lines that are down. But I want to show you guys some video from earlier that we shot in Asheville that really shows the damage done to the bridges, to the roads. And we talked to people who live in that area right on the river there in Asheville, and they tell us that the water actually has gone down about 10 feet. And so the fact that we can now see that bridge means that the water has receded a little bit, but it's still much higher than it should be. And actually, there is some video that shows a mobile home crashed into a bridge there. There are multiple bridges that are down in the city of Asheville, and people tell us that it really feels almost apocalyptic out there because they can't find food, they can't find water, and there also is an hour-long wait to get to the ATM. A lot of these people need to get cash because since there is no power, that means that if there is even a business or restaurant that is open, most of them are only taking cash right now. And so I've had people reach out to me on Facebook asking me if I'm still in the area, if I've been able to get in contact with the county, because a lot of people from all across the country have loved ones that are here in Asheville that they cannot communicate with right now because the cell service is so bad. And it was such a tragic moment when that storm really came through. There were scenes that you really don't ever see except in a movie. We spoke with one man who saw it all go down earlier in the week.
I've seen houses float down the river. I've seen camper trailers float down the river. I've seen an automobile float down the river. I don't know how it's floating, but it was.
Okay. South Carolina. So the death toll now, I saw one report, they put it up to 68. Then another, it was 70. But most are saying 65 dead. And in South Carolina, the death toll, 22.
Thousands of residents in South Carolina still without power after Hurricane Helene's devastating winds and heavy rain caused widespread damage throughout the state, including much of the Midlands. And new tonight, the South Carolina Department of Public Safety confirming 22 Helene-related deaths, making it one of the deadliest storms to hit the Palmetto State in decades. Nick Neville live on this story for us here in the studio. And Nick, what more can you tell us about where we are and the road ahead to recover and rebuild?
Greg, of course, so it's going to take a while. The destruction from Helene, described by Dominion Energy, one of the state's largest utility providers, as unprecedented, left more than 1 million without power on Friday morning, and that death toll now surpassing the 19 dead in the historic flooding from 2015. National and local organizations are coming together to assist in recovery efforts in the storm's aftermath.
No other storm has impacted across our service territory as completely and as devastating as Helene.
As crews are working around the clock to get the power back on for hundreds of thousands of South Carolinians, Dominion Energy's president reflecting on just how widespread the damage is. Many roads still impassable from downed trees, lives forever changed as trees and limbs fell on homes.
Material things can always be replaced. People can't.
And the death toll now at 22, approaching the lives lost during Hurricane Hugo back in 1989. FEMA coordinating with private sector, non-governmental, and community partners to help those affected.
FEMA personnel have been on the ground embedded with our state partners.
All right, so of course they all pat one another on the back for doing such a fabulous job. I pulled this up. I don't think it updates. I'm going to have to refresh, but this was this afternoon. Florida still had 222,344 without electricity. Georgia, 681,249. South Carolina, 901,241. North Carolina, 455,726. Virginia, 135,081. West Virginia, 37,879. Ohio, 78,151. Kentucky, 51,997. Indiana, 16,446. And Tennessee, 22,827. And let me refresh to see if it's any better. Not so much. A little better in Tennessee. Now they have 13,437. Kentucky, yeah, okay. Pennsylvania, 18,690. About 100,000 got their electricity back today in South Carolina. No, actually, it looks like more lost power in North Carolina. Florida is doing a little bit better. Georgia is doing a little bit better. So I think there's going to be many people without electricity for quite a while. Gas. Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, North Carolina, Florida, having difficulty finding a gas station that has gas, and then you have to wait online, very long lines.
Now over to Lexington County, where drivers are facing heavy traffic.
And this is in Tennessee.
And long lines for gas, with some drivers coming from miles away to fill up their tank. News 19's photojournalist Sam Averett was right in the middle of it all earlier today.
Traffic is just terrible, the worst ever.
The gas stations are packed right now, so we're just trying to get in here and get out real quick. Every time you pass anywhere, people are honking each other, yelling, cussing. I mean, it's crazy, man.
They're coming from 3 hours away in Georgia. We've went through 9,000 gallons of gas since early this morning. We're out of ice, water, gas cans. People are buying canned goods and, meat and chips because they have no food, no electricity.
There's a line sticking out to I-20. We said we'll go to where we don't see no line anymore. So their houses are running on generators. So we're getting diesel for the equipment and gas for the generators.
I mean, I don't see any cops, any people directing traffic. People just need to be patient, take your turn, just be nice to everybody because everyone's dealing with the same thing.
Everybody's in a hurry, and we're having wrecks, people trying to get in and out of the gas station parking lot, and everybody wants it now. So the best thing you can do is be patient.
Drive slow and know the rules. Stop. If you got a signal like this out, you're required by law to stop. There is a lot of cars out here. I'd say at least 3 to 4 times more than a normal Saturday out here in Red Bank.
I would advise waiting it out because you'll be lucky if you can get in.
Now,
Okay, so from these news clips, what have you learned? If you have, the canisters, make sure that you have enough gas to get you through a couple of days with a generator, and cash. Cash is very important. Why are they getting rid of it? Okay, cash. Because when the electricity goes down, great problems. You ain't going to be going to the ATM to get your cash. So have cash on hand. South Carolina or North Carolina, which one is this? Oh, all of the states are really having difficulty.
Locations. This is a QT right here on Butler Road in Malden, where people are actually now being directed, drivers being directed to the pumps there. Many trying to cut down on those long wait times as people get enough gas for generators, chainsaws, and even in case that they run out of gas for their car. One woman we spoke with says she drove all the way from Wahala just to find gas.
There's none in Greenwood. There's none in Ware Shoals. There's none in Hodges because or Gray Court, because none of these people have any power. And when we seen how big the lines were in Simpsonville, I said, hey, I'm heading to Greenville. There's more gas stations. It can't be as bad as it is closer to home.
And as we mentioned earlier, we do have a running list on our website, foxcarolina.com, as to where you can find gas and groceries. We also have that in our free Fox Carolina News app.
chaos hitting the small town of Campobello.
It's kind of chaotic with everybody riding around trying to find gas. She rode around for 3 hours trying to find it.
The Circle K along Highway 11 bringing in travelers in search of fuel and food down south.
We drove down from Tryon, North Carolina. This was the only place that was open.
A generator outage prompting a mile-long line of people in need, stuck, and out of luck.
I'm running out of gas and I need gas to get someplace so I could sleep tonight other than my car.
And yet another problem at hand, a water main break just 2 miles down the road.
We have no power, no water. I've got trees across my driveway that I cannot move by myself.
Inman Campobello Water District crews telling Fox Carolina that a boil water advisory will go into effect once the break is fixed. They're one of the many hardworking crews across the upstate doing everything they can to get water, internet, and electricity back up and running.
I appreciate all the Duke Energy Power people coming together and everybody trying to cut down the trees and get them out the road.
I think generally I'm just grateful that everyone's okay and we're just all making do. It has been nice to see everybody in the community kind of band together to help people out.
Reporting in Campobello,
South Carolina. Patients at the pumps. All over, man, all over. And then think about, the dock workers going on strike Tuesday. And wow, that's really going to affect supplies. But I-40 being out of commission, I-40 in between North Carolina and Tennessee, major interstate for the semis delivering in both directions. I've been on I-40 a number of times going from North Carolina to Tennessee, and it's a scary part of the interstate because it's, going up the mountains, lots of turns, and the semis are just flying by you. They're not flying at all now.
Aftermath of Helene continues tonight for many. This was the scene. Cleanup well underway across several states, including those here in Spartanburg County. We're glad you're with us here tonight on 7 News. Utility companies tell us they have thousands of boots on the ground working to restore power this weekend. Very few businesses remain open, and the ones that are have an hours-long wait for food and even fuel. Scarlett Lizjack has the latest.
Duke Energy says Hurricane Helene caused significant damage to their infrastructure, leaving thousands of homes and businesses without power.
The wind and the rain. We've seen trees toppled over from saturation, wind affecting trees, vegetation, and other things that interfere with our.
Residents are lining up for gas, some even waiting hours.
About an hour this time. The last station we went to run out after we got up there, after waiting an hour.
Residents we spoke to say they have surged high and low for the lucky few gas stations that are selling fuel, like this BP on Fair Force Road in Spartanburg.
We had to come from Woodruff to get here to get gas and stuff. So there is nothing in Woodruff.
How did you find this place?
We heard it on social media.
All the buzz has created long lines and traffic, but not everyone here is in search of fuel.
We aren't worried about gas at the moment because we can walk, and so we came to get food. They just got their roller grills and their stuff working. We've got hot food in there, which would be for the first time in a day or so.
In Spartanburg, Scarlett Lizjack, 7 News.
Chaos. Okay. So when you're looking at this, witnessing this, then think about everything else that's going on at the same time. We've got an awful lot of chaos in the world. Many residents in need of gas after the hit of Hurricane Helene. Look at all of these people just on foot. They need it for the generators. They need it for, their cars. They need it. Dozens missing. So New York Post says it's 1,000 missing. Here, dozens missing. We don't know the real numbers, but considering what we are looking at, the amount of destruction, the flooding, it's a high number.
This morning, urgent rescue and recovery efforts underway days after Hurricane Helene roared through the southeast, triggering extreme deadly floods. Parts of western North Carolina in and around Asheville hit with what officials are calling biblical devastation. At least 60 people unaccounted for.
This is looking to be Buncombe County's own Hurricane Katrina.
The historic storm dumping as much as 30 inches of rain in parts of the Carolina mountains. Nearly a dozen landslides reported.
I don't think anyone was prepared for it. I don't think anyone thought it would be this bad.
Roads and bridges washed away. As of Saturday, the state DOT shutting down more than 400 roads. Countless residents stranded. Crews and neighbors going door to door to help the most vulnerable.
It's like a bomb went off. They don't have homes. They don't have oxygen. They don't have water.
Relief teams from nearly 20 states on the ground, helping rescue hundreds of people from floodwaters.
We're just trying to keep everybody alive.
This as the death toll from Helene continues to climb. The massive storm killing dozens of people across multiple states.
It looks like a war zone.
In Tennessee, catastrophic stormwater raging downstream. More than 30 people still missing. Helicopter footage from above showing entire neighborhoods gone. Helene destroying businesses and homes. This bridge collapsing into the Nolichucky River.
Oh, God. This is to my whole life, that we will come back.
Millions still in the dark from Florida, where Helene made landfall as a Category 4 hurricane Thursday night in the Big Bend area.
Oh, my God, they're really on a blunt mattress.
To Georgia, where storm victims are still reeling. The Hall family, whom we met as they were evacuating their neighborhood by boat, returning to their storm-tossed home.
I don't even know where to begin.
Amid the flooded debris, the Halls forced to pick up the pieces.
I don't know. I don't think comparing Hurricane Katrina to any of the hurricanes. I know Hurricane Katrina stands on its own. Stands on its own. In such a concentrated area, and people going 5 days, 6, well, we'll see what happens with Asheville, but no. Hurricane Katrina was a test case. And now we're just reliving nightmare after nightmare after nightmare with this weather. But it's bad. Look at this I-40. Now, for any of you who don't know, or maybe out of the country, when you see this, okay, this, I thought it was just the mudslide. I didn't realize that whole chunks of I-40 are now gone. So we're talking a long time before they repair I-40, but all of those semi-trucks just flying through here. And I didn't realize that this is from North Carolina into Tennessee, miles and miles and miles shut down. So these trucks that would come up I-40, I don't know where I-26 is because a chunk of I-26 came out, but they're going to have to find an alternative route, which no doubt will put many hours on their driving. But look at this I-40. This whole section here. I really thought it was just the mudslide. And if that were the case, they'd be able to at least open it up within, it was a big mudslide, a couple of days, but whole chunks of I-40 are down. This was such a beautiful ride, by the way, through the Smoky Mountains. Really beautiful. Here we have 3 people on the road. No, this is going to take a long time. The infrastructure being destroyed in severe weather or hurricanes, fires, doesn't just snap back like that. So already North Carolina, a week ago, 10 days ago, had severe weather, and it crumpled up a lot of the infrastructure. Now, the west side of North Carolina is dealing with it, but there are so many sections of North Carolina, of I-40, I'm sorry, that will need to be repaired.
Channel 11's Ansley Daniel reports on the damage caused by flooding yesterday in Greene County.
The Kinzer Bridge here in Greene County is one of many that's been completely washed out, stranding thousands of people on the south side of the county.
We have no transportation
This is in South Carolina.
links in order to be able to get across the river to take them food or water or medical care, to evacuate citizens that have any type of medical emergency or an accident.
Mayor Kevin Morrison calling the scene across Greene County apocalyptic.
We will be transitioning into some type of recovery effort. We believe that there have been other fatalities upstream from Greene County, or at least we've been advised of that, to be looking for those individuals in and around the area of the river.
You can see the water line right there. Every single room is like this. It has the mud everywhere. It went up about 2.5 feet on the walls.
The Taylor family left when the evacuation order came in and then came back this morning.
It was so violent it flipped over our washer in the washroom. And we did not do this to the chairs. The chairs, the water did that leaning them back.
And now another type of water is a concern.
The water commissioner told us that they believe that we had 24 to 48 hours worth of water. We put in place a state of emergency.
And this pump behind me here is why the mayor is asking folks to conserve water. It is the only pump that all of the utility districts in the area rely on. He fears that if folks do not conserve water, that they could be out within the next day or so. In Greenville, and
So, as you can see, ripple effects. Okay. Going into day after day. The hurricane is gone. Well, kind of. It's up in Pennsylvania now. But they get to live this day in and day out. Water main break up. Well, no water. Boil the water once it's fixed. Here, they got 24 to 48 hours worth of water. Burnsville, North Carolina, between Asheville and Boone, in West North Carolina. And I'm not sure. Let me see if I can. Maybe you can see this a little bit better. Did you see that? That was a road. It's a road. Gone. That's why there are about 400 plus roads in Western North Carolina that are closed. Here, yeah, they have no cell phones. The roads have just been, and the bridges have been destroyed. Boone, North Carolina. And there are areas where they don't even have any access to the people in the areas. So wouldn't you expect to see an awful lot of those military helicopters dropping water, dropping food, helping people out? You know? Real fishing life.
You're talking about geniuses running these weather programs like BlackRock that owns everything, like Home Depot, Walmart. Brand new refrigerators. They soaked us last year with just a little taste of what you could have. And this year they gave us the full Monte.
And for anybody who doesn't know, I'm sorry, he's in Florida. This is his mother's home.
You want to say it like that, but brand new refrigerators. Not to mention every personal item we have. Stop geoengineering of our weather systems. Now, quit making money off the people, making our lands worthless. Buying up our stuff gonna be pennies an acre now compared to what it was. Not to mention all the people's lives y'all killed. Very unusual sky today. Please stop geoengineering today. For it's
We need many more people who are in this fight. And look at this. Really? You're going to tell me that that is a natural cloud? Okay, so real fishing life, his mother, they were just renovating his mother's home from the last flood. And he comes home to look at the house, Hurricane Helene, what it did to it, another flood. There's a lot of people who are dealing with repeats. Extreme flash flooding, Asheville, North Carolina. I can't play this. It's Live Storms Media. If you want to play it, then click on the link. But this flooding in North Carolina, okay, and Asheville, a city of, I think, nearly 98,000 people. It's not a, tiny city. It's a city, and it's not a small town. Look at this massive amount of flooding. Everybody needs to be questioning, how is it even possible that a hurricane that made landfall in Florida comes up to Asheville, North Carolina, and places in East Tennessee, and you have this amount of flooding when hurricanes aren't even a flooding event? Right? Don't think? I think. Yeah, I think. Do you know how many people come into Asheville to work? Well, those jobs are gone. It's really horrendous. And what is really upsetting to me is that I know that this is not about climate change. It is not natural. The natural processes have been usurped by very evil subhuman things. Using the technology to create all of this devastation. Here's another storm chaser. This is Horseshoe Beach, Florida. Look at this. And I'll post the link, but I can't play it. Storm chasers are very protective of their videos. Look at this. I'm from Florida on up, Georgia. It's truly massive. And again, I'll say it. In all of the 13 years, trying to capture as much as I could with the weather devastation, I've never seen anything on this scale. But people really do need to be questioning the whole climate change narrative, because we have less people, we have far less manufacturing taking place. I mean, the world economy is collapsing. But let's say everything that I just said was not true. The climate change effects would not be radical. The effects would come about incrementally, slow. But here, in the last couple of years, we have seen radical changes in our weather. That's not climate change. That's the technology that man is using to create weather. Now, we have a whole lot of countries who are involved with weather modification, geoengineering. The big top 5 countries You got the United States, you've got Russia, you got China, you got Brazil. Did I name 5? There's another one in there. And they are bringing about a tremendous amount of suffering for an awful lot of people. Southern Life, you might want to check out his channel and subscribe, but he's in Florida and he's been going around to an awful lot of areas that have been devastated. But here, okay, the elderly in North Carolina, in Tennessee, in Georgia, in South Carolina, if they don't have family, what are they going to do? Florida.
What's up, everybody? This is Jose from Southern Life. As you can see on this garage door, the water here was about 4 feet inside the houses, about 5 feet on the road where we are right now. The craziest thing is that this is mostly an elderly community. These people here are poor and they've lost everything. But what's crazy is that we're not even as close to the water as you can get. You can see here how the water pushed open all the garage doors. These are poor elderly people that live here. Okay? I want you guys to understand something. This area has never had anything like this ever before. And it's a poor part of this county. Imagine now a poor part of this county where the people that live in these houses are elderly for the most part. Do you know how many of these people are about to end up on the streets with nothing? This is a poor urban elderly area. These people cannot afford to rebuild. The catastrophe that this state has just taken on is difficult to understand. And even more difficult is the notion that the state has become tyrannical about homelessness. Yeah, the state of Florida is currently, starting in a few days on October 1st, starting an anti-camping law that will arrest anybody camping outside. A lot of people are asking me, does that mean you cannot camp outside your own house? I don't know if the law specifies that, but it says no outside camping anywhere, which would suggest you cannot camp on your own property. So look at it, what is happening here in Florida. 5 feet of water on this road, 4 feet of water inside these apartments. What we're about to witness here, and in these woods are already homeless camps. There's already people living in the woods back here. Back here, there are trails, and there's people that live in the woods. You can see it on Google Maps. There's a huge homeless encampment back there in the woods. I can't find the entrance. That doesn't matter right now because we're covering the hurricane. But if you look carefully, you'll see the water line at about 4 feet. What is going to happen to all these elderly people who have just lost everything here, who cannot afford to rebuild, in a state that's becoming tyrannical? There's no power. You can hear what is about to happen here. When we get hurricanes in Florida, they happen in places like Naples or Fort Myers, where people have money and they have the ability to rebuild.
Not everyone. Just because it's known as an affluent area, we have to bring in how many people have been losing jobs all over the country, very affected by the inflation. So more and more people are going off the financial cliff. You cannot just assume that, oh, in those areas, people are fine. Certainly not in Fort Myers. Fort Myers has really gone down. Anybody in Florida? That's what I've gotten from just listening to other people. Naples is still, it's where my mother lives, still a very affluent area. But yeah, the elderly poor, certainly. How do they recover? I'll post the link again. And check out his channel, because he's been going from, community to community in Florida, showing the devastation there. I honestly, it's kind of mind-boggling how it is that we could be living what we're living with a whole lot of Americans just walking around like either clueless or do not care. Do not care. Well, it's very exhausting living this. It's very exhausting, especially if you're one who has suffered the consequences and you're in that hole and you can't get out of the hole, and life just becomes not much fun to live. Prepare to fight. That's right. Came across this today. This is Frugal Me, and I've actually recommended Frugal Me. The link is in the chat. But yes, everything is a fight now. So even for those who have insurance, good luck getting what you deserve from the insurance companies.
Good afternoon from Scott Duckworth here in South Georgia, and we're going to make this very quick in under 2 minutes. Folks, between Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and in beyond, folks, there's going to be a lot of insurance claims from this storm. Folks, it affected us too. You can't tell. We had quite a bit of shingle damage. This is what was in the yard the next morning. Lots of these things. All right, so here's the deal on that. These are pieces of the shingle that were blown off. And if you refer back to my videos, we've talked about how these insurance companies, and this is just my opinion, State Farm and Allstate, if you're with these companies, my prediction is about 40 to 50% of you are going to have a very difficult time getting these companies and other companies to pay their fair share or a legitimate amount of the claims cost. Do your homework and do not settle. I can't say it enough. Do your homework. Again, do not settle on some small amount. I've got a feeling they're going to say, Scott and Cindy, your roof there, it's 13 years old. We're only going to pay you, $2,500. I'll be very surprised. We'll see. They may replace the whole roof, may not. So I will keep you guys posted. Hey, get your fair share. And if you've got major damage, which we don't, mainly shingles, you may have to get an attorney.
And a whole lot of people have had to get an attorney. And even then, they still don't get what they deserve, considering the premiums that they've paid out year after year after year. So I'm just going to play this. Yes, geoengineering is very real. So here we have Kristen Megan. I'm sure a lot of you know Kristen. Well, she's still at it. I don't know how long ago this was posted, just a couple of days ago, actually yesterday, but Kristen Megan, former military, you can listen to her. But my God, if people can't even listen to those who actually worked the geoengineering, blew the whistle not worked in terms of spraying it, but you'll hear her involvement. They can't even listen to this. They're going to call her a conspiracy theorist. That means we're up Schitt's Creek without a paddle.
So we're here with Kristen Megan. She's a military veteran, right?
Yes, I was in the U.S. Air Force for 9 years.
Wow. And you came out and blew the whistle on geoengineering, things that you witnessed were going on. Can you give us the real nutshell?
Absolutely. Basically, I had heard of what many people know as the term chemtrails. And I worked in a job called bioenvironmental engineering. And I thought that was insane. And why would we do something like that? Modify the weather by using hazardous materials in our atmosphere. So, and actually the process of trying to debunk it or disprove it, I realized it was actually coming right out of my office, as I was one of the people that was approving the chemicals. And it really shook the core of my oath. And I did a lot of sampling, a lot of investigation, and I blew the whistle and I got out. And I've now used my credentials, my oath, and my powers for good to help people understand it's very real. It's now openly admitted. There are multiple forms of weather modification. I specifically found the one of stratospheric aerosol injection. And collectively around the globe, we have to understand that it is now being admitted because they're saying it's combating climate change. Well, the climate change we need to be worried about is man-made climate engineering, also known as geoengineering.
And when you say you had chemicals being pumped into the air, what kind of chemicals are they putting out that rain down on humanity, basically?
Nanoparticulate metals, like we had different sulfates and barium and strontium. I know it's probably changed over time. I know they use silver iodide for certain things, but these are the odd part of it was the quantities that I saw them coming in, the form that they were coming in. And it's the same type of materials that I was trying to engineer out of the workplace to substitute with safer materials. And when you notice that what's called the safety data sheet, the information about a chemical of what personal protective equipment to wear, how do you dispose of it, how do you pack it to ship it? When key information is missing, I ask questions, and my questions led to demonization, and I knew I found something I shouldn't have.
That's insane. So these metals are basically toxic for the humans, I would presume, or?
Yes, because it also has aluminum, and a lot of people will tell you, well, these things aren't horrible in small quantities. It's not small quantities, because when you are putting things above us, the dissipation rates are dependent on weather and climate, but it's getting into the food, it's getting into the soil. And around the world, these wastewater treatment plants, when it comes to pharmaceuticals, or these toxicants is what they're called, they are not able to filter them out. So if you're growing organic food, are we going to go back to the plexiglass barriers on our plants? I mean, it's horrible. That's why you can ban it anywhere. We've had states in the United States ban it, and that is great to get the ball rolling. But people really need to wake up to it, irrespective of any political party. It's not okay. And you're seeing a huge increase in neurodegenerative issues like Alzheimer's. It's really difficult for people with respiratory issues and asthma. And people are wondering why they have allergies 24/7, 365.
And I liked what you said about that climate change, or the change we experience in weather. Often we can't disconnect that from these geoengineering activities. Do you want to say something more about that? I mean, how do we feel that? Is there proof or so that is definitely coming from that?
Yes, there are places that openly admitted it. Remember Dubai? And then when people got upset, they retracted it, but the can was already opened. And the issue is, I know this sounds silly, but when you watch movies with time change, they say if you do something and something changes, it changes the ripple throughout time. If you are modifying the weather, you are messing with Mother Nature. And meteorology is a very, very thorough study. And I do know a lot of it because of my profession of plotting hazards, but it does not make sense when you are altering nature where things are not naturally supposed to occur. We had massive flooding in California, and we have a system called HARP that is in the United States. And the same people who demonized me 5-10 years ago are now going, wow, because they're finding it's openly admitted in all of our U.S. documents. The U.S. is absolutely not the only country doing it.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, thank you very much for coming out on that and letting humanity know what's going on. Thank you so much, Megan.
Thank you.
Well, can we get that circulated? This is very hard. I can't tell if I'm about to cry or collapse most hours of the day. No joke. Hurricane Helene victims with water damage to electronic locks. Okay. Oh, and salt water is blowing up the electric cars in Florida, causing fires to houses, electronic locks. You want to go with the smart homes? Oh, okay. The link is in the chat. He can't get into his home. Cash, keys, gas. And yeah, it does seem that our fabulous government absolutely has just abandoned Americans. Strong earthquake in Mexico today.
Magnitude 5.2 earthquake in Mexico on September 26. The earthquake occurred in Ciudad Altamirano, Guerrero State, which was already damaged by the hurricane. The epicenter was located at a depth of approximately 10 miles.
Okay, there's just a lot, and the use of extremely low frequencies in these storms, the hurricane that hit Acapulco and the massive flooding that Mexico has experienced. Yes, they steer the storms with the extremely low frequencies, and yeah, extremely low frequencies can cause earthquakes. Italy, again, another neighborhood flooded out.
Italy still faces devastating floods. Scenes of utter devastation after flooding in the Italian region of Emilia-Romagna. This is introverted.
Wow, something is wrong with my computer. Something is wrong with my computer. Yeah. Anyone have any ideas if you heard that? I don't know any place to bring it. I don't know anyone to call. So it's revving up again. Nepal.
Nepal is currently facing severe floods and landslides due to heavy monsoon rains, leaving communities in various regions in distress. There are many missing people, many of them living in the Kathmandu Valley. The capital of the same name and a number of other large cities are located there. This valley is home to about 4 million people.
A whole lot dead and a whole lot missing. And just a few more things that I just want to share with you. So here we have, and I want to thank my subscribers, one in particular who sends me a lot from Instagram. Here. Yeah, a whole lot of people were saying that they had 5G because their phones say 5G. And I was saying, no, you don't. No, you don't, because the infrastructure for 5G hadn't been established, the infrastructure was not available in a lot of areas in our country. They didn't believe me, but listen up.
Again, these 5G towers, they're not for internet and phone service. That's all a scam and a lie and a cover story for the Project Bluebeam technology, for the microwave weapon that it was designed to be, to zap you with frequencies and mess with your sleep and your health. This is not conspiracy theory. And by the way, those of you that want to throw out the word conspiracy theory, that immediately tells me how ignorant and asleep you are. You don't even know what that term, where it came from or why they use it. It's simply to discredit whistleblowers, people telling the truth. So when you throw that term around, you just show that you're asleep and a sheep. That's it. So I'm going to show you this video because a lot of these are starting to come out now. These companies and these small mom and pop shops that fix your cell phones on a daily basis. When you take them in, they're broken or they need repairs or a new screen. These people that own these repair shops are now making videos about what they're finding when they take your phone apart. There is no 5G chip in these phones. They're not only charging you more money for the phones and making a huge profit, but it's not even got the 5G in it. That's why your service still sucks. After all these billions of dollars spent on marketing about the blazing fast speeds you're going to have. Check out the video.
Oh, I have two 5G phones in front of me. Right there is where the 5G chip is supposed to be. And right there is where the 5G chip is supposed to be. And again, I fix phones every day, so you can take this from a reliable source. There's not a single phone in Canada that supports 5G. There's not a single carrier in Canada that supports 5G. It's a marketing scam. There's no such thing as 5G in this phone. What you're investing in is 5G for the future. So they're charging $200 extra for 5G when it's not even there. I don't know if this speaks wonders to you, but I think the government's doing other things with the 5G towers.
So guys, wake up to the scam, wake up to the marketing lies and manipulation, and wake up to what these poisonous towers are actually there for and what they're going to do to you.
We live in a scam. Everything is just a flippin' scam. Now, should this strike take place on October 1st, the longshoremen strike, the ripple effects will be pretty significant.
Breaking news in the looming strike for union workers at major shipping ports along the East Coast. Thousands are set to hit the picket line this Tuesday. The International Longshoremen's Association ordering a strike after talks demanding fairer wages hit a standstill. News Nation's Caitlin Becker joins us live from Port Elizabeth, New Jersey. Caitlin, what are we learning here? Major developments since the last time we spoke.
Yeah, truly, Jesse. I was not expecting to hear this today. We're 36 hours before the deadline, and the ILA sent out a communication announcing that they're absolutely going to strike. They're going to walk off the job when their current contract expires. Now, it's a 6-year contract. Each of these contracts are 6 years, and the expiration date is midnight on Monday. So 12:01 Tuesday, these workers are going to walk off the job. There's going to be a full-on work stoppage up and down. the East Coast and parts of the Gulf. Now, the ILA has not released any details specifically about exactly where these picket lines are going to be. They said that's going to come likely sometime tomorrow. However, they did note what the major issue was, and it really came down, Jesse, to wage stagnation. They said that the U.S. Maritime Alliance, that is who they're in talks with or were in talks with, just wouldn't come to an agreement about what they called wage subjugation that they said had been happening for years. Now, I have to.
Okay, so the president of the union actually said, "We will cripple you." So if they don't get what they want, we will cripple you. And whenever I think of longshoremen's, these ports, and aren't they all pretty much controlled by mafia? So the criminal fight the criminals. Americans in Beirut, Americans everywhere. Your government does not love you.
States government, in conjunction with Israel, bombed its own people. The US Embassy in Lebanon released a statement today saying that they are not going to help evacuate any American citizens still in Beirut, still in Lebanon. They said if citizens are concerned and want to head back to the US, they themselves can spend upwards of $4,000 or $5,000 to get a commercial flight. Then the US released $8.9 billion in military aid to give to Israel, before Israel used military weapons from the US to bomb the living shit out of Lebanon. I mean residential buildings, I mean hospitals, I mean densely populated areas. They're predicting thousands have died. Israel has said that this was a strategic strike, that this was intentional. The mass slaughter of thousands of Lebanese people was intentional. It was strategic. It is exactly what they wanted because they are now trying to genocide Lebanese people. The exact same rhetoric that we have seen used against Palestinians in Gaza is now being used against Lebanese people in Beirut and Lebanon. And the US Embassy and the United States government abandoned its people that they left there. And this is the same government that said, if you harm an American, we'll respond. They literally left them to die.
It's what we do. This isn't the first time. When Americans needed to be evacuated from countries, it's not the first time. Well, get a commercial flight. Pay up. Just, because we're about killing. We're not about saving. We're about killing. Too bad. An awful lot of Americans still want to live this delusion that we're just so exceptional, morally superior, when there is no evidence of that. All right, so, yeah. Do I have time to do this? I'm going to try to do it quickly. Censorship is going to be a very real happening. We already have it happening, but it's going to become something where not a lot of people will be able to deny. But again, we have an awful lot of Americans who just don't care. Well, that sinks all the other Americans who do care, because there's more of them than there are of us.
Censorship. Trump wants to put you in jail for a year if you burn the flag, which is protected speech, by the way. Why should you not be allowed to burn the flag? Because you're protecting the cloth? No, you're doing that because you don't like the idea that they're expressing. Well, the Democrats are on board. Here's AOC.
So I'm not sure if you caught that, but that was Trump saying that he's going to put people in jail for burning the flag, even though the Supreme Court has said it's protected speech. Yeah, well, it's the lesser of two evil.
And she is now, well, here it is. Want to listen? Here it is.
I do think that several members of Congress in some of my discussions have brought up media literacy, because that is a part of what happened here. And we're going to have to figure out how we rein in our media environment so that you can't just spew disinformation.
So, what a perfect analogy. She says we have to rein in the media environment. Rein it in? You mean like putting a bit in a horse's mouth and jerking him wherever you want to go? We have to rein in disinformation. The biggest disinformation people are the government. Joe Biden just lied the other day and said he never talked to the head of the Fed. And then there's a video of him in a meeting with the head of the Fed. Are you kidding me? This isn't about stopping misinformation. This is about stopping the truth. Because if you don't stop the truth, then the regime doesn't have the establishment doesn't have the control over you. They've had a stranglehold on the truth my whole life through the corporate media. Which is why COVID happened, which is why Afghanistan happened for 20 years, which is why Iraq happened twice. You remember when they said that the Iraqi soldiers were taking babies out of incubators and throwing them on the ground? That was all made up by the Bush administration, the first Bush administration, all made up, just like weapons of mass destruction by his son. It was all made up. It was all made up. So she's not worried about, this isn't about government. This is about getting brown girls like AOC to trick you into thinking censorship is for your own good. Oh, I remember when I was at the Young Turks are all for censorship. And I remember had the big argument on air. And it was over Alex Jones. They go, well, Jimmy, we have to do something. Social media platforms have to do something, but they don't have to do anything. There's already a sheriff. There's already an attorney general. There's already the Justice Department. There's already law enforcement everywhere. So if he's doing anything that breaks the First Amendment, then they'll get him. You don't have to do anything. That's ridiculous, and that's what she's trying to make you think. That we can't allow disinformation. Yeah, how do you think you come to the right conclusion about something? You have to have information. And the freedom of speech is the right to be wrong.
And yes, our government is for sure the biggest purveyor of disinformation. All of the lies of our U.S. government. She's not talking about that disinformation. She's talking about the disinformation that comes out of our mouths. Oh, and it's not even disinformation, it's truth. That's who she is. She is just a sick, narcissistic, give me money, that's all. I'll definitely implement your agendas. I'll speak highly of your agendas. There's more that you should listen to. These people are literally, I don't understand Americans. I really don't. I just don't. I don't understand Americans. Hillary Clinton now calling for Trump supporters to be thrown in prison for sharing misinformation.
Boosting Trump back in 2016. But I also think there are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda. And whether they should be civilly or even in some cases criminally charged is something that would be a better deterrence, because boosting Trump back in 2016. But I also think there are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda. And whether they should be civilly or even in some cases criminally charged is something that would be a better boosting Trump back in 20.
Okay. They show you who they are, and still Americans are rah-rah. They want to take away your rights. They want to take away your freedom. They want to shut your mouth. Yay, I love Hillary Clinton. Something's wrong with us.
He has lost his privileges, and it should be taken down. And the bottom line is that you can't say that you have one rule for Facebook and you have a different rule for Twitter. The same rule has to apply, which is that there has to be a responsibility that is placed on these social media sites to understand their power. They are directly speaking to millions and millions of people without any level of oversight or regulation, and that has to stop. He has lost his privileges, and it should be taken down. And
That's what she said about Trump being banned from Facebook. This is serious. This is really serious. And just look, as a former Democrat who during the Obama years, I just had to walk away from my entire social network because I couldn't stand it any longer. They were hypocrites. They didn't give a shit about anything but themselves. They liked the Democrat label because it meant that they were for the poor and they were for, the marginalized, and they were the good people, and they could not give a shit about any of those people. They were way too self-centered. They didn't care about Obama lying. I couldn't have adult conversation with them. I was a conspiracy theorist. I was dark. I was negative. I was this. I was that. The hell are you doing? What the hell is wrong with you, Democrats in particular? No, I didn't walk away and then go to the other red team. I am now, well, a whole lot of Trump supporters can't stand me. I'd like someone moral and honest. But that's not our country. That's not the American way. But my God, how could Democrats, how could you possibly feel like you're on the good team anymore? Because the entire party has become this, just a tyranny of batshit crazy.
Even if we were to have a resounding blue wave come through, as many of us would like, putting it all back together again after we've gone through this MAGA nightmare and re-educating, basically, which that sounds like a rather a re-education camp. I don't think we really want to call it that. I'm sure we can find another way to. Even if we were to have
Paula Collins. Re-education camp for the MAGA people. These are the faces of the Democratic Party, okay? I don't get what has happened. How there could be any Democrats left. Not that you need to go to the Red Party, not at all. But because the Red Party is just as violently crazy as the Blue Party, like Trump, a violent psychopath.
So Trump claims Iran is trying to kill him. Are they, though? Are we this gullible, guys? Let's go ahead and this is what he had to say. He also says he's going to blow them to smithereens, that he would blow them to smithereens for targeting him. Watch this.
If I were the president, I would inform the threatening country, in this case, Iran, that if you do anything to harm this person, we are going to blow your largest cities and the country itself to smithereens. We're going to blow it to smithereens. You can't do that.
Oh! We are inherently violent. as a people. Inherently violent.
This is
Yeah. Here you can watch the video on how easy it is to tamper with the voting machines and change the numbers in the voting machines. I've posted, so many other people posted years ago. Nothing, you know what is really upsetting? No matter what you do, it has no effect. No matter what you do, it has no effect. You know, yes, U.S. lawmakers are preparing for a mass casualty event, but they've been preparing for a mass casualty event for years. I mean, that's what they do. Okay? The implications are chilling. Congress is considering a constitutional amendment that would allow governors to directly appoint House representatives in the event of widespread vacancies. It's the continuity of government, and that has already been a process that has been operating. So I don't know why so many people are on this like it's new. It's not new, whether or not they pass a constitutional amendment or not. The continuity of government has already been established. They have people appointed, and there's no way to erode the foundation of our republic because we don't have a republic. It's gone. There is no foundation. There hasn't been a foundation as the federal government began, certainly right after World War II, began to amass its power and usurp the power of state governments. And they even usurped the National Guard into the Department of Defense, into the Coastal Guard, the U.S. Army. Anybody who thinks that we have remnants of a republic left, you need to do a little bit more research on what has taken place. Our federal government has seized power, consolidated power, and that means you're going tyranny. It's already happened. It's gone. I don't like to live in delusion or false hope or, any of those things. It's gone. And maybe the sooner other Americans recognize that, yeah, well, I've been pretending that we still have this U.S. government and that it's operating the way it's supposed to be operating. Maybe if they come out of that very false reality that they've got going up here, maybe they'll begin to recognize the reality and maybe do something about it. I don't know. Trump ain't bringing it back. Trump's going to destroy it further. Trump already showed you that for 4 years, usurping the power of state governments, of local governments. 5G. We've got to roll out 5G. You local governments, you mean nothing to us. I'm giving the power to the communications industry to put 5G wherever they want. And literally, yep, goodbye, local government. You don't have a say. Look at COVID. There's a lot of examples. It's time for Americans to face reality. Whether you're awake and think you face reality or asleep, just because you know what? You're killing an awful lot of people in the process as you go along, creating your own reality, living in delusion. Wouldn't you like to see some of this stop? And I know it won't. So live honestly and speak honestly. And yes, it means you have to do work on yourself to get there. Because growing up as an American, we don't get on that trajectory. We get on the lying trajectory. We get on the, hey, I'm going to wear that mask out in the public. I'm going to lie on my resume to get a good job. I'm going to lie to friends. I'm going to lie to family. I'm going to, oh, how are you? Fine. How are you? Fine. Nice to see you. Okay, goodbye. We've got to be real. It takes an awful lot of work. And you know what? Because so many are not, it's kind of scary. To be real, to be honest. It's very difficult in our country to live like that. Help those in your community. I know that there are people close by, an awful lot of these people who are hurting from Hurricane Helene. Drive on out. Give your time. Help those people. Bring them food, bring them water. Yeah. And on that note, yeah, this is quite the time to be living, and you really need very strong shoulders to bear it. Hope to see you tomorrow night. Stay safe. Good night. Good luck. Ciao.